Hi, we're the Huge Movie Fanatics, and to do a second review for Cabin in the Woods.
Full of spoilers. Oh!
Now he's seen it, so we can actually discuss, and I can talk about the film's messages and meanings that I could never get into before. Because I think that's part of the fun of the movie. I loved it. I don't know what you're gonna think. I'm assuming you probably didn't like it just because.
Why are you assuming that?
I don't know.
Well, why are you assuming that?
You giggled.
Oh, I giggled over
Yeah.
there? Yeah. Alright, continue.
Thoughts?
Thoughts.
Everybody knows that I think it's the best movie of the year.
So you
It's
think
4
that
stars.
I should just...
so-
Oh, I guess
Sorry.
that makes sense, yeah. No one knows what I think.
Yeah.
Alright, I took your advice. I didn't see a trailer. You said don't go
Yeah.
into it blind. I actually like that in general. I used to make my dad watch movies, and I used to find a movie that was really cool or had a twist or something. He always used to like to look at the back of the box. And I was more like, no, I'm just gonna, like, have you seen it yet? JCVD?
I haven't seen that.
I did the same. I did that with Dad. It was a perfect example of just, because when it started, it's like an action scene with him going, ha, ha, and Dad's like, oh, great, you know, why are we watching this? But then it turns into, you gotta see it. It's like,
I know what that
probably
movie's about
the
a little
best
bit, yeah.
Jean-Claude movie ever. It's amazing. I'm glad he did that.
Yeah.
So I do agree with the go into it blind. I think that's a great way to do it. I think in a lot of cases, back of the boxes, they ruin.
I read the back of the box of
plot
Cabin in the
point.
Woods, and it spoils quite a bit.
Oh man. So anyway, I just intended to buy it when it came out. So I went to the store to buy it, and I was kind of worried when I saw the thing that, because I'd always seen the poster of the cabin, the Rubik's Cube, whatever. And then when I saw the 3D thing with the boxes, I was like, oh shit.
It's not a 3D movie though.
Well, no, it's not a 3D movie, but that cover, the slipcase or whatever, where it changes when you turn it. And then I turned it over and I saw some of them, some of the creatures I think are in the back of the box or something, or they're on the front. And I was like, oh no. And, probably if I had seen the trailer, I haven't seen the trailer yet, by the way, so I don't even know what's in the trailer. But I kind of wish I would have seen the trailer. At the end of the day, so I just bought it, and I was kind of disappointed, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't, because you were concerned that my expectation was, and it wasn't, I was hoping, let me just show. So basically, when it first started, it was like the blood forming images or something like that, and the music going, and it sounded like the guy who did the music for, oh shit, I forgot. For it might be Wrong Turn. It sounded like that, and I was just like, oh god, what is Matt smoking? This is, and it started like the generic fucking current, and then it cuts to the whatever, the pop machine or whatever.
The coffee machine.
Because I was losing it already.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, wait, what's happening here? That's kind of cool. And it's just like they're talking about this two office guys, or what are we seeing? Talking about this shit, which actually was, the conversation was very funny.
Yeah, women's issues.
yeah, she's putting all the child locks and stuff, and she's not even pregnant or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that was funny. And so you don't know what the fuck is going on, and I was kind of hoping that it was going to be a random, like we'd never see these people again. But at any case, when it cut to that thing coming down, I was like, okay, this isn't just what it started out being, which is just your average, typical 21st century shit. And then the funny thing, because I watch it I got a projector in 5.1 that just, it's like almost as big as this room that deafens the room. So when the fucking title came out, I was just like,
because I was in the theater too, and everybody just had the unanimous
because it was loud and you don't expect it. What's the line before the title? You should know it. You probably see it.
It was like, I know what I'm doing this weekend. I'm pulling out the power drills and getting myself a beer or something like that, and all of a sudden it goes BAM!
So that was funny, and I thought that. In a perfect world, you never would have seen these characters again. I didn't know where they were going with it. And then as it went on, I gotta admit, I was kind of disappointed with the way it was, which it is the guys in control. So the whole reason they're doing it is because there's these demons who they're basically sacrificing so the demons don't come up. Okay. At the end of the day, I feel like the movie, it was a lot like Avengers for me, where it was dealing with too much to have enough time to breathe for me, and it felt like even the horror scenes. I don't know why I watched it twice, and I don't know why it rubs me in the wrong way. It seems like even the horror scenes, like you compare it to Scream.
Yeah.
And whereas I feel the Scream is not only a comment on horror, but also I feel like this is more commenting on horror than it's being horror, personally.
I do agree with that to an extent. Like Scream is actually a scary movie.
That's exactly.
Cabin in the Woods is a scary movie in the sense that it has jump moments and stuff like that, but it doesn't instill the fear into you. And I think part of that is that everybody's familiar with Cabin in the Woods kind of horror movies where it's not really scary anymore, it's not really relevant anymore. But anyway, keep going.
So that was kind of my problem with it, and I didn't like and of course, well, I guess I was gonna say you have to have them, but you don't have to have the guy with the bomb thing. That. I mean, kids like it and whatever, it's hip or whatever. But me as a person who doesn't use drugs, and I don't know. I don't know. He didn't use a lot of drugs. He was smoking a lot.
He was smoking a lot, but I mean that happens a lot in pretty much every horror movie.
I don't know.
Every Friday the 13th movie has pot smoking in it. Yeah, even in Halloween, like I was watching that this weekend, like. Annie and Laurie are passing pot back and forth between each other in the car twice.
I know, but I don't know what it is. Somehow it just seems to be so much more in the forefront for me in the current movies than it is in the back. Maybe it's or in the old movies. Maybe it's because I saw those old movies when I was younger, and I see them as that forever. I don't know, but I guess that was my ultimate problem with Cabin in the Woods, is that in balancing those two things, the horror didn't feel like horror. It felt much more like and it is competent in the sense that it does take an interesting look at, well, what if, and a comedical approach at kind of like, we're seeing Evil Dead, but we're seeing what could possibly be the goings-on behind the scenes. I found it had this very creepy undertone, which is basically what I think it's showing you what actually the world is like in a lot of ways, which is really creepy, which is there's more and more surveillance, there's less and less privacy, there's less and less personal rights, and I thought it was very creepy being I don't know what I consider myself, just I don't know, I'm very much aware of the way the work, the people who run the world are, and it was when I saw it the first time, I was actually kind of surprised. It surprised me, and it actually kind of depressed me the first time I saw it because of that. I was like, after I saw it, I was like, oh God, because I read all that shit into it, all that, that New World Order and all this.
I mean, that was
shit.
Intended to be.
But I think a lot of people who don't know about that shit, they wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
So I saw it a second time, and I saw something that I missed the first time, which I thought was a cool little touch, which I don't know if you've seen it, you probably caught it, where there was a moment where he flipped the switch and it shocked her and she dropped the knife, which I thought, you saw that, which I didn't see until the second time, which I thought, I immediately remember like Halloween.
Yeah.
Even Jamie Lee Curtis in the commentary is like, why would I, that was one of the touches that was cool.
Well, seeing all those little things, and I love Chris Hemsworth's monologue where he's like, we're staying in this house, we're not moving from this spot, and we're going to ride out the night. Everybody, let's stick together. And then he turns around, he flips a switch, the gas vent, and he's like, we got to split up. I love that guy, the guy in the background, he's like, really?
That guy, I got to tell you, that guy annoys the shit out of me.
Really? He was amazing.
That guy
he was
annoys
so
the
great.
shit out of me. Is he from something or something like that?
Fran Kranz? He's worked with Joss Whedon and other things before. He's never played that kind of a character. But
just for the record, he annoys the shit.
He was great, especially in the ending when he was when the girl has the gun, points the gun to him, and he just slowly turns. Like he can switch from to the drama really well, and he's like, really, this is gonna happen? You're really raising the gun? And she's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, yeah, I am too. And then the werewolf comes and snatches her. That was a really well played scene. The whole three people at the end, Sigourney Weaver and the Marty character, and I can't remember the virgin, but that was really great at the end. I like the dynamic of the characters.
So let me just say before I hand it off to you that at the end of the day, it felt like, it felt like you got film students who are like, oh yeah, this is cute, this is clever. It felt a little like, oh god, we're so clever kind of a thing. Like, you know how you can imagine if they're filming the scene and then they cut and they all applaud themselves and, oh, that's so clever. I don't know, it just felt like a little too, I had the word before, like, after I'd seen it, but I can't think of the word now. Just cute, yeah, we're cute, we're clever, whatever. And I like that guy who gets whatever, but who gets killed by the Aquaman, because he reminds me of like one of those late 80s kind of assholes. He was in RoboCop 3, I don't know if you remember, he was an asshole in RoboCop 3, but he reminds me of that late 80s shit. Remember that guy from Scrooge who you just hated? It seems like he was in just every movie, like in 87 and 88. He's like, no. He reminds me of that kind of generation, and I thought that was actually, both of the two guys are good.
Bradley Whitford is the one that gets killed by the merman. He was just great. I think both he and Richard Jenkins, both of them, they both get, like, if in my world, they would get a nomination, because they were both so damn good in that movie. I just absolutely loved them.
So, at the end of the day, I just felt like, I guess I was I didn't know what, it was unexpected, and I guess I felt disappointed because I wanted it to be basically some kind of straightforward Evil Dead. I just maybe was expecting too much of Scream. And the twists, I don't know how I feel about the ultimate, what the movie ends up being. I feel, it is very uncomfortable, kind of this is probably how life really is, and seeing the puppeteers behind the strings, and that aspect just is creepy to me, and so there.
So, the way I saw this movie, and because I saw, as I said,
I'll go 2 stars.
I saw this movie with the director there in tow.
Why'd you do that?
And as I was watching the movie, I was like, my God, this is a brilliant masterpiece, because I saw it as, this is how horror movies are written. And you pointed out some of the things, like why would you drop the knife? And, well, there's a person controlling that. But it showed every layer of how a movie is made. I saw this as how a studio makes a horror movie.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Because you have the director, who's literally, that's the person's name. Sigourney Weaver plays the director. She's the one manipulating everything and using all of her tools to her advantage to make the movie happen. You have the 2 guys who are sitting there being the writers, who are writing things. Well, she has to drop the knife. She drops the knife. They're the writers. And the movie is written by 2 people, Joss Whedon and the guy who ended up directing the movie. And one of them's older, one of them's younger. Joss Whedon's older, the other guy's younger. That's so read to me as, that's them. Then you have, you had the science technicians, which are the special effects guys, who are like, well, okay, we're going to release the Kraken or whatever.
You saw it as more like, this is how
movies are made. And then they kept the repeated theme that all those people, the writers especially, say it repeatedly. And then the director says it at the end is, we can't upset the gods, we can't upset the gods. I pictured the gods...
Gods being what, the audience?
The audience. Gods are the audience. And if you give the audience something that they don't expect and they don't like, they're going to be up in arms. And that's what you literally see at the end of the movie. Up comes the arm and it crushes the house.
Oh, okay.
So I saw that and I was like, oh my God, like, this is just brilliant. And... so we got to the Q&A section, and I was like, is this what this movie's about? And he's like, on the nose. That's it. This movie
What do you mean, is this what that movie's about?
I was like, alright, so the director is a real-life director. This is about how a studio makes a horror movie. This is how you see it. And he's like, yes, this is what we wanted to point out. That there's a reason why all of these
those guys are like waiting for the tits.
Yeah, there's a reason why all of these movies are made and are all so similar to each other. It's because this is what the audience demands. And the audience is different everywhere you go. That's why you get those great little Japanese clips where you see like the
Japanese horror.
Yeah, and it's totally, yeah, I don't get it either, and they totally made fun of it so beautifully. And so I was just like, man, this is so brilliant, the way that they noticed all these things, and they put it together, and they gave you a valid reason why every horror movie has nudity in it. It's because the audience demands it so. If the audience doesn't get it, they're going to hold that against the movie. And like... I just thought that was great. And then the fantastic shot where they're they're writers. They basically they set up and manipulate the situation so that she has to reveal her breasts and whatnot. And then they have that fantastic shot where the two guys are just standing there watching the screen in awe, and then the guard guy, I'm not sure what his job was, but he just comes in and he's looking. That was really kind of funny. And then yeah, there was just so many layers to the movie that I liked, and I loved the little intern guy. He virtually has no role in the movie, but he was just there like to bet on the thing. I also liked all the different nods to different horror movies that were on that whiteboard, like the Angry Molesting Tree, which was my favorite one written on the board.
See, I didn't read. Did you like pause it and read them?
No, I caught that in the theater.
Oh.
And then at the end of the movie, when the elevator's open, the first thing that you see come out of the elevator is the tree comes and grabs the person and sucks him in, just Evil Dead style. And I was like, that's brilliant. Any movie with a killer unicorn also will get a pass in my book. That will get a 4 stars right there.
Oh wow!
Just saying. And also, I love the Merman. There's so much humor that made it work for me, and just being a fan of the genre, it was nice seeing a movie that sort of had everything in it. The only thing it didn't really have in it was serial killer or anything like that. That's because it's more of a supernatural horror movie. This is how supernatural horror movies work. Because Scream is the serial killer horror movie.
Yeah, see, I'm more of a serial killer guy.
And I prefer that too myself. That's why I prefer Scream.
Yeah, I didn't really like the just generic zombies, but as you see, I mean, there was a whole plethora for any one of them to pick from, and they just happened to pick generic zombies.
They picked the crazy redneck zombies, which I like. Zombie Family, I think is what they were called. I like that.
So it just, at the end of the day, it just rubbed me the wrong way, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I think it's a 4-star movie. I love what it essentially said at the end of the day.
What did it say at the end of the day?
Which was like, these are why horror movies are made. Or if you look at it conversely, like Joss Whedon also has a theme in all of his TV shows, all of his movies. It's even present in the Avengers, and something he caught on here is that all this stuff that you're living, there is an organization running underneath it that is sort of going out there to control the situation, and controlling the situation tends to mean wiping us out. In the Avengers, the S.H.I.E.L.D. has to answer to those unknown faces, those 4 unknown faces who send a nuke straight for New York City, and Iron Man sacrifices himself. He ends up surviving because Hulk scares him back into life, but he ends up grabbing the nuke and throwing it up in there. But there's always that layer in his movies or shows where it shows that everything in our life is being manipulated by some higher power, and that higher power isn't a god or anything like that. That higher power is the government elects that you put into office, or who are running the office, though they aren't elected into it.
The people who control the elected people, yeah.
Exactly, and that's one thing that I sort of like that he points out, and he's willing to show people that, yeah, that's how this world works. It sucks, and maybe, and they even say the line, maybe it's time for a change, and that's why they just let the world end, because that's not right anymore.
For the record, that is my answer to it. Just, by the way, just start fresh. Like dinosaurs, just start fresh, because there is no way, we're getting off the subject, but there's no way to change for me other than just starting out fresh.
Yeah, and so I kind of like that aspect.
But when like I say, that aspect of it, when I first saw it, was actually, I just saw way too much of exactly what was there, and it was kind of bummed me out.
It doesn't really depress me, just because I have to accept that that's how reality is. So, and I've seen his stuff long enough to know.
Oh yeah,
so
you're familiar
so
with
like
his stuff.
that didn't bother me.
I'm not familiar with his stuff.
So yeah.
All right, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's it.
What'd you think I'd think of it before I
thought you were gonna at least give it 3, if nothing else, for like its woodsiness. I mean, the
But see,
approach to the woods
Yeah.
was great. Like
What
the and when
approach was it?
like the approach, the camera approaching where you see the great
Oh,
shot
okay.
of the cabin and the Harbinger and stuff like that. Like you being a fan of Friday the 13th, like I thought you'd appreciate like having the Harbinger who's telling like, you kids, this is where you're gonna die.
The problem is it felt just so, like, I don't know how to describe it. So much like exactly like all this is an homage, and it didn't feel like its own thing. That's for me how it felt, and that's where my problem lies. Whereas like Scream, It is an homage, and it's its own thing, as far as
Okay, I
I'm
feel
concerned.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's my problem. And even, you know, even the wood stuff, I don't know. It's like I say, it didn't, the location didn't exist enough without cutting back to some guys in the goddamn thing with twisting buttons and stuff for me to just, it's just because of the way the movie was, that seeing the behind the scenes of every moment just took it away for me, that's all. I kind of wish I hadn't blind bought it, but I did, so whatever. Anyone who wants to buy it from me,
I think you'll come back to that in years' time and stuff, and maybe just watch it from time to time.
maybe I will when I'm too happy. So what do you think?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Cabin. So one thing that is interesting is after Cabin in the Woods, you just told me on the email last night that they are going forward with Evil Dead remake. And
Oh yeah,
it's just interesting that, you
yeah,
know,
why
after
yeah.
it's like people are gonna, because Cabin in the Woods, did that do surprising? What kind of business did that do?
It didn't really do well when
Oh,
it first
okay.
came
Oh,
out.
but what?
It's done better on DVD, but it's always sort of been like a DVD movie. All of his stuff isn't really breakouts
Oh, okay.
except for the Avengers, which felt deserved by this point. But all of his stuff, he has such a hardcore fan base who is going to love his stuff.
Oh.
Like, I mean, that's just he says this all the time, that he doesn't make things for people for 1 million people to like.
Right. That's a good way to do it.
He makes things for 100 people to love, and that's who he caters to.
Right.
And it just so happens that, like, he did the Avengers, which 1 million people loved. He found the right project, but he's still doing since the Avengers, he has a little Shakespeare movie that he filmed literally in his house with his friends that's coming out early next year, and he has a horror romance coming out next year called In Your Eyes, and then he also has the Avengers 2, which he's going to be doing. So I mean, the Avengers hasn't shaped who he's becoming, because he's still making stuff.
I hate that when people like Sam Raimi, you know, make the small stuff and then they get into big and they never go back.
Yeah, they never go. The one thing I like about Raimi is that he's very involved with all the stuff he produces. Not like when you see Wes Craven presents Them or They or whatever it was. Wes Craven had nothing to do with that. They just tagged his name on it. Sam Raimi has deep involvement with all the stuff that he produces, and they just got word that he's producing Poltergeist remake, which, you know, if anybody's gonna do it, I think Raimi could do it well. Because I like Raimi.
All right.
I like everything he does. You still haven't seen Drag Me to Hell. You gotta see Drag Me.
Oh yeah, I have a $3 movie pile. I got so many $3 movie piles, and then I buy more each week. I'm never
Yeah, I
gonna
do that
catch
too.
up. Yeah.
Gotta watch Drag Me to Hell sometime. Anyway.
All right, I'll throw it on the wall someday. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.